How was your Thanksgiving? You can tell me. You already told me part of it, but you can tell everyone.
Well,
You're in the Republic of California.
we are in the People's Republic of California, and what's odd is I had a call with my wife who is in the actual People's Republic of China, and it was funny to be in the People's Republic of California talking to someone in actual China who has way more freedoms. She's like going out. She went to a concert the night before, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I
everything's
saw.
fine.
I don't think we talked about this on the show, but I saw a picture from a concert in Wuhan from like sometime last week, and it's this big outdoor festival concert.
Mhm.
No one's wearing masks. Everyone's just partying and having a good time with music, and sort of like wow.
Yeah,
And then we're
yeah,
still here.
she's like, and it's not just one spot. She's traveled between Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen several times in the past month or two when she's been there, and like, no issues. I think once or twice she went into a restaurant where you had to like take your temperature first, but there's no mask. There's like, and she's been there for like, I don't know what, since I don't remember when she left. Like
It's
over
been
a
a
month.
while.
It's been over, yeah, a month and a
Yeah.
half, 2 months. Yeah, it's been a while. So, yeah, they're fine. They're fine in China. So it wasn't the virus that was engineered in a socialist lab. It was the response.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
But
still getting to this day. For the most part, I think a lot of people are now starting to question the mask mandate. People maybe who didn't before are finally starting to question them. But
I
there are
think they're
still
getting
those
tired.
holdouts who just confuse me. And if you are someone who believes mask mandates are fine, uh, you're still welcome on this show. But I just don't understand. That's all. So those people, I really don't get it. I don't understand what bubble they're living in.
Yeah.
But
Well, we violated California's laws to have Thanksgiving, and it wasn't even. We went over to grandparents' house, and they are definitely in the. How do I want to say this? I think they are. I don't want to speak for them, but I think I would say they are like viscerally and spiritually anti-mask in their personalities. Like they would be the kind of people who just want to don't tell us what to do, and they're very social. They want to interact. They volunteer everywhere and interact a lot with people. And but but their news comes from mainstream media, and they're very obedient Democrats, and so you know, and they're old. Look, and in their defense,
yeah,
they're also in the age category where it matters
yeah,
more,
of
right?
course. Yeah.
So but even even at grandparents' house, they couldn't follow the rules completely. We had dinner inside, which is illegal. That was not allowed.
So
So,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. But it was kind of
Well,
sad. There was like a big moment of like a Zoom call to me, and it was just like, and it was sad. Also, my daughter and I were making some food to bring over, and it was like, well, we have to like, how small can we make this recipe? Because there's only, it used to be, will there be enough? And now it's kind of like, can we make a third of the recipe? Is that
did
possible?
you see the Babylon Bee satirical headline that said, uh, I forget which website it was, but it's some Food Network or something, some recipes website deletes all
Um,
of the recipes that serve more than six.
yeah,
That was kind
yeah. It was
of,
so, but it was good. It was good. We had, it was a fine day. We had good food and hung out, and you know, it was all good. But you got to celebrate.
we had a
I'm
good,
envious because you had like an actual Thanksgiving, right?
yeah, well, yeah, an actual Thanksgiving. I just got back. I drove 5 hours this morning to get back here to do this
Dedication.
show here. Yeah. But yeah, it was great. And like you said, again, for anyone who's new to the show, I have been known to put on a mask on occasion, rare occasion,
I've
and
only
for
seen you put on masks that cover your eyes on rare occasion,
yeah,
but
well, like we took food across the street to a friend of the family, and you know, I wasn't actually wearing a mask, so I didn't go in. Like I stayed socially distant, and my
yeah,
boyfriend was wearing a mask and giving food and everything. It's like, of course, if you're going over to someone who's home and they're elderly and they're, yeah, of course I'd put one on if it makes them feel good and they want that in their home, then of course. But, at our place, no, I'm not wearing them. And I don't wear
Yeah.
them anymore at stores or anything unless someone asks me. And I'm finding that as the months drag on, fewer and fewer stores, at least around here, even ask anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely like a weariness to it where people there's a store that I go a little shop that I go to, but in California you have to wear a mask inside. But the the store owner puts the mask below his nose all the time. And no one says anything, and
Yeah.
so as soon as I noticed he was doing that, I just started doing that. Um
Yeah.
and and by the way, uh I know I don't seem like the very sensual kind of guy, less frivolity, more intellect and curmudgeon behavior. But uh, I forgot how much I missed smells. There's like a lot of spices in this store, and like I lowered my
Yeah.
mask the first time. I was like, oh, the world smells like something other than what I ate for breakfast. It's wonderful.
Yeah. A
There are
month or
scents
so
in the
ago.
air.
Yeah, I was in Fort Worth a while ago, maybe a few weeks ago, and there's a handmade boot store that I really love. I love their work, and you can't go into a handmade boot store and not smell the leather. That's part of the
Right.
experience.
Yeah, the leather's the
Like,
best. The leather
come
smells one of the
on.
best parts of any
Of
kind of
course I'm
leather
not going
store.
to wear
Yeah.
this thing. Give me a break.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you remember. I mean, I'm sure you do because we've talked about it. So I know you remember. I don't know if everyone else remembers. Just as a reminder, when they did when they started with the lockdown stuff, the argument was, um, there was no. I don't know. Just I know it's almost a year ago, so sometimes it's hard to remember this far back. But
Wow.
there was no talk of vaccines. The strategy was by all the experts. The strategy was, hey, we've got to get to herd immunity. The problem is, we don't want to overwhelm our healthcare system. So if everyone gets it all at once, we'll overwhelm our healthcare system. We have to flatten that curve, and then we'll get to herd immunity, but we'll do it in kind of stages. That has completely disappeared from the narrative. 100%. Now it's all about how dare we have herd immunity. Now it has to be
Yeah.
vaccines. And I don't know if you saw. I think Keith the Hat Guy posted this in our team Discord, but I watched this. I forget what it was. It was some Ron Paul Institute thing, but Tom Woods spoke at it. I think it was last week. Might have been the week before. But he has this great series of graphs where he goes through a bunch of different countries and he shows the COVID curve. And he shows, I'm trying to see if I can put it in frame here. Okay. He shows like the COVID deaths, and then they drop off and they go up or whatever. And he presents the curve for each country and he says, guess when they implemented mask mandates? Right? And obviously, if there was a correlation, you should, on average, be able to kind of figure out because you should be able to see it in
Right.
the graph, like, oh, here, and then it went down. In many of the cases, the mask mandates are there, right? The mask mandates, like, there's no correlation at all. In fact, there is no correlation overall. There's just no correlation. They implement the
No.
mask mandate, and it, like, while it's down in the trough, and then it goes up after the mask mandate, like, just random stuff. It's not correlated to anything. Uh,
Yeah, it doesn't correlate, and we don't need to get into a mass debate because I know there's people who would
no, no,
disagree.
no. I'm just
But because I just recently stumbled into a community of people who are mask holes, uh, that or the virtue signaling kind of, how dare you? It's your privilege not to, it's your white privilege not to wear it. Those kind of people. I just was reminded that they're still out there and that they believe that the science is squarely on their side, that this is somehow helping. And I guess I've gotten so far away from that. I still find that surprising. But speaking of
yeah.
vaccines, did you see this? I just sent you a link.
Mm-mm. But I will look.
Okay. This was kind of interesting. This is from Vanity Fair from a story on October 22nd. And I saw this in
This
a
Chuck
tweet
Ross
from
tweet is from
Chuck
Vanity Fair.
Ross.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold on.
So
Let's see
he
here.
says, Chuck Ross says, this seems shady as hell. From a story on October 22nd, Biden coronavirus task force member Zeke Emanuel worked with Eric Topol to pressure Pfizer not to apply for approval of its vaccine on an expedited timeline before the election. In other words, hold
Wait till the
off.
Biden gets elected.
Right. Hold off. We want, as we all know, the narrative is going to be that Biden did what Trump couldn't do. We know that's what they're going to sell us. He's going to do some kind of federal mask mandate or lockdown or something, or he's going to claim credit for a vaccine, and then magically it will disappear from legacy media, and it will be the narrative they will try and sell us and force feed us is that he's cured COVID. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. And there's an excerpt there from Vanity Fair. It says, working with Topher Spiro, Vice President for Health Policy at the Center for American Progress, and Zeke Emanuel, Vice Provost for Global Initiatives at the University of Pennsylvania. Now, again, Zeke Emanuel is Biden's coronavirus task force member. Okay, so working with him, Topol organized an open letter to Bjorla at Pfizer from more than 60 top clinicians and public health experts. They politely demanded that the company abide by the FDA's guidance, that it monitor its clinical trial participants for 2 months after they had received the second dose of its vaccine before applying for approval. You know, now you can read nefarious intent into that or not, but
Yeah.
I tend to read that and think, well, yeah, sure, timing wise, of course they want it to come out after Biden's president.
Yeah.